This is a product I had no idea even existed. It might look like a funky little spaceship box or something, but this is a hand massager. And in today's video, we're going to test the project out and see what advantages it has for us crocheters. I was recently contacted by the team at Bob and Brad to see if I wanted to try out a massage tool. If you're not familiar with Bob and Brad, I will link their channel down below. It was funny because when they reached out to me and they were telling me like, here's our channel and such, I was like, oh hey, I know these guys. Anyways, they are physical therapists who create regular content here on YouTube, showing different exercises, stretches, and general physical therapy information that people can try at home to help themselves feel better and to help their bodies heal. Their channel is a lot of fun. I've watched their videos before and it's helped me with different times where I've dealt with tightness or pain. Great content over there, so be sure to go check them out. But anyways, when they reached out to me, I had the option of choosing between 3 different products, and I'll show you the other 2 because it was a hard choice. So my options were the heated hand massager, the neck massager, and the back massager. The back massager looks really cool because you can use it in multiple ways. The neck massager, that I honestly might end up just ordering it for myself because it looks pretty amazing. But I decided to go with the hand massager because I feel like that tends to be a pain point for crocheters because crochet we use our hands. And a lot of times it can cause fatigue in our hands. We might get stiff or sore. And I had no idea a hand massager was even an option for helping with crochet and just keeping your hands healthy and relaxed. So I'm going to be trying out this product and seeing what I think of it as a crocheter. First off, let's talk about what you get. You of course get the hand massager, which straight out of the box, it's not that heavy. It's fairly lightweight, but it's very sturdy and secure. Like this is not some flimsy lightweight box. It's got some durability to it, which I like. Secondly, the design itself is very simple and intuitive. There's 4 buttons on front with a display. It's open and your hand goes inside, and a little port for charging. That of course also means it comes with a charging cable, which I have not used yet because it comes with some charge in it. The massager also comes with some disposable gloves, so that way if you put hand cream or lotion on, you can put the glove on and still use the massager without getting oils or lotions on the unit itself. There's also this bonus little finger massager. Yeah, this thing's kind of honestly great. I think this was a nice touch to include. And then last of all, a nice drawstring carrying bag to hold everything together. Very nice written instruction manual, very clear and simple to use. When you use the massager, it goes flat on a surface and your hand goes into the opening. To turn it on, press and hold the power button. You'll hear a little beep and the display will light up and then it will start working. As you'll notice, the device is not that loud. I've been able to watch TV, listen to music while it's going, and it doesn't bother me at all. So the power button's pretty easy. Press and hold to turn it on, press and hold to turn it off. The next button is the M for mode button, and this has 3 different modes, and each mode massages different parts of your hand. As you cycle through the different modes, the M on the display screen changes color. The 3rd button has 3 lines that each get taller, and that is the intensity of the massage. Essentially, there's a low, medium, and high intensity, basically just how firmly or softly it massages. The last button is to turn the heated mode on and off. Once the device is on, it will run through a 15-minute massage cycle and then will power off. This video is going to be hard to get through because I'm going to keep getting distracted by the hand massage that's going on, and I'm going to be like, so relaxed, it feels great, and I'm like, oh wait, I'm filming. But anyways, if you don't want to go the full 15 minutes, you just press and hold the power button to turn it off. And then when it needs to be charged, it's a very straightforward process. Just plug it in, let it charge. The other thing in the kit that we can use is the finger roller. I really like using this in conjunction with the massage unit. I'll usually do this a little bit first just to kind of get things starting to warm up and kind of hit some of those tighter points, those pressure points, and then I'll use the unit to get my whole hand and my wrist. I don't think there's really a right or wrong way to use this thing. I find it feels really good going over the joints where my fingers meet the hand. I'll look up what like joint or bone or tarsals and metatarsals that is. But this is a really great tool to have for a little bit more of a targeted massage option. So now that we understand what the device is, how it works, let's go over some things that I really like about the unit and some things I think you should be aware of. I've been using this a little over 2 weeks, taking notes on when I use it, and I've got a really nice long list of things that I do really like about this unit. First up is the quality. It is a very sturdy, durable unit. The fabric inside the massage unit feels really nice and soft against my hand. It has a little bit of an elastic stretch, so it's very comfortable. And I have found this thing has incredible battery life. A second thing I like about this unit is it is so easy and intuitive to use. The only part that I have to actually think about is when I press the power button, it is a press and hold. But besides that, everything else is extremely intuitive. It's easy to know that it turns on because it gives that audible beep and the display lights up. Switching through the different modes is just a press of a button. You have color indicators on the display to let you know which mode you're in. Same with the intensity level, it's easy to interpret the symbols. And with the heat being an on or off, again, the symbol makes it really clear what your settings are. A third thing I really like about this unit is how quiet it is. Does it make some noise? Yes. But I have used this hanging out with other people, watching TV, having conversations, and it hasn't hindered any of those activities. In fact, the other day my sister was using this and we were having a conversation as a family, and after her had been running for like 10 minutes, my dad goes, "Wait, what is that sound?" And sure enough, it was the unit, and he didn't notice it until 10 minutes after it running because it is so quiet, and it's not an intrusive noise at all. The loudest sound that I found it makes is when it releases air from the compression compartments. But it's not a loud sound, and even though you hear it, it's not an annoying sound. The fourth thing that I think is great about this unit is how it is so versatile and customizable to exactly what you need in a given moment. You have the different modes that focus on different parts of your hand. The intensity level, of course, changes how gentle of a massage or more intense, and sometimes I find that I just want a very gentle massage just to get a little bit of blood flowing, and other times my hands are feeling stiff and I need that firmer massage, and it's nice knowing that I have options for those different scenarios. The heat, I think, is another great feature to have because, again, it's just one more option to customize your massage experience. For me personally, I don't use the heat option as much, and part of that is because we are in a very hot part of the summer, but I can definitely see the heated option being fabulous in winter when, you go outside, come back in, your hands are a little stiff from the cold, not only warming them up, but also getting them relaxed and loose in the process. Another thing I really like about this product is actually a separate piece, and it is the finger roller. And this goes back into, it gives a lot of options. Sometimes before or after using the unit, I might have a specific joint or a specific finger that is giving me a little bit of irritation, and this is a great way to target those trouble spots. They both feel different, so they're really nice complements to each other. Something else I really like about this product is how easily contained it is. First off, the unit itself isn't bulky. It's as big as it needs to be without being larger than necessary. And secondly, everything that comes with the unit, the gloves, instructions manual, the charger, the finger roller, can all fit into the opening of the unit, and then everything goes into the bag. Because it stores all self-contained, that also makes it great for traveling. It keeps this unit very portable. So now let's talk about the two things I really like about this unit as far as it relates to crocheting. If you've been around my channel for a while or you've watched some of my tutorials, you know that I sometimes wear compression gloves when I crochet. If I'm wearing them while I crochet, it's typically for support, or maybe I was already dealing with some pain, but I'll also wear them before I crochet as a preventative measure, and after I crochet if I crocheted too long and am experiencing any pain, stiffness, or achy joints. Compression gloves have been a huge help to me as a crocheter. This massager, because it is an air compression massager, you can think of it kind of like being a more intense compression glove. Now, obviously this you're not going to be able to wear and crochet like you could with the gloves, but as far as what it accomplishes, it's like the compression gloves, but ramped way up and far more effective. And don't get me wrong, I still love the compression gloves, but sometimes with the compression gloves, I'll be aching a specific part of my hand and be going, oh, I wish I could have a little bit more pressure on this part of my thumb, or I wish my wrist could get a little bit of attention. A compression glove isn't going to be able to do that targeted and more manipulative compression. This unit can. And that's because the unit has 3 different sections of air compartments. There's an air compression section for the wrist, an air compression section for the hand, and an air compression section for the fingers. And the different modes determine which different pockets of air compression inflate and what part of your hand it's targeting, and also kind of the order that it targets those sections. And y'all, I love the wrist section of this massage unit. With my palms and fingers, if the compression gloves just aren't cutting it, I can pause crocheting and kind of massage my own hand, work different joints, things like that. But the wrist, I mean, I've got really bony wrist here. So when I dig in with my fingers, I'm kind of just working around the bones and the joints, and it doesn't feel that great. With the compression aspect of this unit, it targets my wrist as a whole versus just my fingers getting in very specific places and getting in too deeply. Hopefully the way I described that made some sort of sense. The takeaway is the wrist massaging section of this unit targets my wrist in a way that is different than anything else I've been able to come up with, and it's more effective than anything else I've tried, like massaging my wrist by hand. In the same vein, talking about the compression, I find it to be a far more comfortable massage than something that has individual rollers in it. Now again, I love this little roller unit, I think it's awesome. But this I am in control of where it goes and how much pressure it applies. At other points in my life, at like a chiropractor or different places, I've had the opportunity to use different massage machines. And most of the ones I have encountered are not air compression, they have the rollers. I am a very bony person, and sometimes those rollers, instead of pushing and manipulating muscles, it ends up just like right on my bone, and it is so uncomfortable. With this unit, because it is the compression, I don't have rollers putting too much pressure in one spot. It's a very nice, enveloping, consistent compression pressure. And even if your hands aren't as bony as mine are, the compression means that the pressure kind of envelops your hand and is really consistent everywhere, so you're not having it digging in one part, but not putting enough pressure on another section. So as this device relates to crocheting, I have found it to be really nice to use after crocheting. That's mostly when I've used it. I've used it a few times before I started to crochet. I've used it a few times just randomly in the day without being in conjunction with crocheting. But I find that I get the most benefits from it after I've been crocheting for a little while. What I found with this unit is, yes, it helps with pain relief, but really the main thing that I've experienced is it relaxes all the joints. And everything just moves smoothly. It's very relaxed. Nothing is stiff or stuck or cramped feeling. When crocheting, it of course is a bit of a repetitive activity, and our hands, while they do get some movement in them and maybe some movement with your fingers depending on how you manage your yarn and hook, they're maintaining a very similar position overall. And if we stay in that position too long, things can get a little bit stiff, a little tight. For me, after I use the unit, everything is like loose and floppy. Not like floppy like I can't contract my muscles, but everything moves freely because the joints aren't still stiff from crocheting. If you are someone who deals with things like arthritis or carpal tunnel, of course you do want to talk to your doctor before you start any new interventions, but this unit could be really helpful if you deal with some of those issues in crochet. My older sister has an autoimmune disease and deals with a lot of stiffness and arthritis in her hands. When I let her try the unit, she was in absolute disbelief because her hands had been stiff all day, and afterwards, she was able to easily fully open up her hand. So if your hands are stiff from cold or stiff just from aging or stiff from a health issue, this can be a great way to get things relaxed and moving again, either before you start crocheting or afterwards. So all in all, I think this is a really great unit and a really great option, especially for us crocheters and especially for us crocheters who may sometimes deal with pain or discomfort. But let's also take a look at some of the things that I think you should be aware of about this unit. The first thing to be aware of is I wouldn't describe the massage as feeling like a real massage, which I mean, like, what is a real massage? What I mean by that is it doesn't feel quite the same as if somebody else were to massage your hand or if you were to massage your own hand. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, and for me personally, because of the compression distributing things more evenly across my hands, I find that more comfortable at times than someone going in with, say, their thumbs and fingers digging into specific locations. However, if you are used to that more specific targeting of a massage by someone else doing it or doing it on your own, you might not have that same experience with this unit. However, I do think it's likely you would get the same results because this unit will hit all those same spots that you would hit with like an actual hand massage. So mainly it's the way that it feels when the unit is working that does feel different. I don't think the benefits are any less than a real hand massage. And if anything, I think this has the potential to give even better results. But don't buy this unit expecting it to feel exactly like someone massaging your hand. A second thing to consider is my personal experience with this unit. While I've really liked it and really enjoyed it, I don't really have any issues with the unit itself. I haven't personally found it to be a be-all end-all solution for crochet pain or stiffness. However, I think that is largely because lately, on the whole, my hands have not been hurting a lot, and that's because I've been doing a lot of my intervention measures very consistently. So things like wearing my compression gloves while I crochet, using ergonomic hooks, doing stretches and strengthening and mobility activities with my hands, using my Volare pillow so that my elbows are supported while I crochet. All those sorts of things that I do to help prevent and treat crochet pain have been working really effectively for me lately. So the unit hasn't really taken me out of a painful crisis and into, hey, I can crochet again. Again, I think that's mostly because I'm at a good point right now where I'm not dealing with much pain or discomfort and have been doing a good job keeping up with those interventions. The last thing to be aware of with the unit, and this is so extremely nitpicky, is when it comes to storage. And basically, this is gonna sound kind of obvious, but if you get the unit, you will need a place to store it. Again, it stores so nicely and contained within the bag, but you do have to still put it somewhere. I have yet to find a good place to store it. And I know that sometimes buying things can feel like just another gadget, just another dust collector, just another thing to put on a shelf. So if you think you want to get one of these, I would spend just like 5 minutes, it probably won't even take you that long, coming up with a place where you can easily store it, so that way if you get it, it's not a frustration of, great, I've got another thing to store, where do I put it? And instead you've got a game plan in place and you can immediately start using and enjoying the hand massager. I love that this is another thing that I can add to my toolkit to help me stay healthy, keep my hands working well as a crocheter. Once again, thank you so much to Bob and Brad for sponsoring this video and sending me this unit. And of course, for my followers, yes, I've got a discount for y'all down in the description. So if you're interested in this unit, check out the description to get the link to the product and also for how to get the discount. I hope you all have an awesome week and your hands do not cause you any pain. Happy crafting!